What is going on, everybody? What is going on? Deep Catch fam, hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight, man. Hope you guys have had a great start to the weekend. Hope you guys are ready for week 14 of the 2022 NFL season of 4, week 14 of the 2022 fantasy football season. Can you guys believe it's here? We're a week away from playoffs for a majority of you guys. It's a huge week for everybody, regardless of if you are fighting for a top seed in your league, regardless of if you are fighting for a playoff chance at all. It's crazy, man. This season has absolutely flown by. So, you guys know what time it is, man. Time for some live week 14 fantasy Q&A. So, hop in the live chat, guys. Please let me know what you guys need. Start, sits, ads, drops, last second waivers, injury updates, weather updates, whatever it may be, guys. Please, let's talk some fantasy football. Let's have some fun. Hit that like button on the way in. Hit that subscribe button, of course, if you are new to the channel. And like I said, hop in the live chat. Let's talk some fantasy football. Let's get into it, man. Who you guys starting this week? Who you guys sitting? Let's get into it, man. I'm excited. So, let's take a look very quickly to see if we have anything important to go over on the injury report. J.K. Dobbins is activated this week against the Steelers. Another Ravens running back to deal with. Kadarius Toney will not play. Tua is dealing with an ankle injury, but he is good to go. Tyreek Hill had an illness, no longer ill. Treylon Burks will not play. A lot of these are not really like recent updates. Kind of already knew this stuff, all this stuff. Donta Foreman has no injury designation, is good to go for Sunday. Josh Jacobs will have tests on his injured pinky finger. Okay, but he was able to function. Popped into place. Ooh, yikes! Against the Rams on Thursday night. Amari Cooper is questionable with a hip injury. But I already knew that, right? Brian Dable said it's possible Saquon Barkley's status for Sunday is in doubt. I don't want to hear that, being a Barkley owner in a pivotal matchup this week. Let's see. Leonard Fournette not seen a practice on Friday. That's about it. All right, there's your quick injury updates. Let me know if you guys have any injury questions, of course. So, Cannon, what's going on, man? Good to see you, bro. What's up? Should I start Saquon tomorrow? Yeah. So, Saquon, who we just touched on, right? A true game time decision is what Sleeper says. So, the good news here is Saquon plays at 1 o'clock. So, it's, you're going to have some sort of heads up and some sort of time to change your lineup here. I do think if Saquon is ruled like good to go, that you do start Saquon. I just can't imagine sitting a guy like Saquon Barkley. But from what I read, if the Giants lose this game, they can still make the playoffs. I mean, they're in the playoff picture right now, right? Like they're not on the outside looking in at the moment, right? But they get Washington, Minnesota, and Indianapolis in the next couple of weeks, then Philadelphia again. So, from what I've read, like, if they win 3 out of these 5, most importantly at Washington, they can still get in. So, like, they might be kind of looking at this game, right, and looking at the schedule for the rest of the year. And, like, if you're not going anywhere if Barkley's hurt, right? So, they might be looking at things and saying, like, this is already a tough matchup. Barkley's hurt. Like, we should probably rest him, right? If anything goes wrong, I mean, neck injuries are serious, right? Like, our season could be over, potentially. So, but if we lose this game, and it doesn't really alter our course to the playoffs too drastically, although they definitely have to beat Washington in Week 15, it's a much, it just feels like a better matchup for him. Especially if Barkley's back, well, I don't know. It's speculation, I guess, at the end of the day. But I would definitely just keep an eye on Barkley's status going into the day. And I think if Barkley's healthy, you just have to start him, man. It's tough, though. Prey, what's good, bro? What's going on, man? Good to see you, bro. Nick, what's up, man? What up, what up? Warrior Loft in the house. What's going on, guys? Appreciate you guys in the house. What's up, Mike? Dude, I love to go by Mike, honestly. It's a cooler name. Thumbnail, I forgot what it was called for a second, not gonna lie. Oh, yeah, I got 2 on there. That's right, that's right. Shout out to your boy, too, Prey. You're good, Warrior Loft. Messi or Ronaldo, I honestly don't pay close enough attention to soccer, but I used to, like, root for Messi, but I don't pay close enough attention. You're good, Warrior Loft. Don't stress it, bro. It happens. Nick, what's good, dog? Metcalf or DPJ? I gotta go Metcalf, bro. Yeah, I'm starting Metcalf for sure. Like, Metcalf's in my starting lineup on a weekly basis. Metcalf, worth noting, dealing with a hip injury, will have workload watched in Week 14. DK Metcalf is expected to play in Seattle's Week 14 match against Carolina. The Seahawks will watch his workload coming off the hip injury. Fantasy managers should feel confident starting Metcalf even with the workload being scrutinized. Against the 20th ranked Panthers defense, chances are good he will still produce solid numbers in Week 14. Okay. I think that doesn't concern me too much. But, yeah, I just can't imagine not starting DK Metcalf right now, man. His offense playing great. So, I mean, I like DPJ as well. Still good flex play, but, you know, Cincinnati's defense has been playing pretty well. They're good against opposing receivers. You still got Watson at quarterback. It should be an improved week in comparison to last week, but overall, you guys know I've loved DPJ all season long. He's a great flex option, but yeah, I got to go Metcalf there for sure, bro. Max, Saquon, Swift, Waddle, or Wilson. Standard league, got to bench one. Worried about Saquon for everything you just said. Yeah, I still think, like, if we get the clear on Saquon, you start him, man. I mean, you know, top 5 running back on the season. I wonder where he lies in standard scoring. Because he's scored a lot of touchdowns. Oh, yeah, he's RB5 and standard and PPR. So, in standard, right, I think if Saquon doesn't play, though, you go Swift. You know, I mean, Waddle and Wilson are great starts. You've plenty of good options here, Mac. But, like, in standard, I'm going to gravitate towards the running back position. So, a healthy Saquon or DeAndre Swift. But, truthfully, I think if Saquon is listed as healthy, you throw him out there, man. Mr. Jones, what's good, bro? What up, what up? Good to see you, bro. Pick 2, PPR, ETN, Pacheco, Lenny White. Also, I got JJ. Would you flex Thielen or pick up Corey Davis? Yeah, definitely lots of good options to look at here. I think Corey Davis is an interesting start going into the weekend. You know, was dealing with an illness, but he's been cleared. And it's kind of interesting because, like, he's not really going to line up as the wide receiver 1. So, like, you don't have to worry about, like, a healthy Tre'Davious White lining up on him for most of the game. Like, I feel like Garrett Wilson lines up as the wide receiver 1, you know? And even not, I feel like Wilson's the biggest threat to the opposing defense, so they want to put the best defensive pressure on him, right? Then you still got Elijah Moore out there, so, like, that's kind of like Corey Davis can play his best football when he's, like, doesn't have to be a number 1 receiver, because he's never truly been number 1 receiver, you know? So, I think Corey Davis is interesting. Coming off a 13.5 fantasy performance last week, but overall, looking at the options here, I don't think it's too crazy to start JJ and Thielen. I do think that's going to be a very pass-heavy game. I think that both the Lions and the Vikings will be throwing the football quite a bit in this matchup. So, going back to the running backs you got here, ETN, Pacheco, Lenny, and White. I'm not a fan of ETN going into the weekend. I'm really not. I think it's a tough matchup for him. If he doesn't score, you're going to end up with a really poor fantasy stat line. So I kind of been recommending not starting Travis Etienne throughout the week. Didn't have a great game last week. I mean, the game script kind of got away from the Jags. Trevor Lawrence left for a little bit. You know, they were just throwing the football, playing from behind. But I just don't like this matchup against Tennessee. Like I said, if he doesn't score, it's really tough. It's a tough stretch for ETN, right? Tennessee, Dallas, the Jets before he gets Houston in Week 17 when you're definitely starting him in the fantasy playoffs. So I go with Rachaad White for sure. Great PPR value the last 2 weeks out of Rachaad White. So I think he's a good start. And I'd probably go Pacheco. Like if your gut was telling you to go ETN over Pacheco, that's okay. The only reason I don't go Lenny is because, he's banged up right now. He's listed as questionable. So I could see a world where you start White and Leonard Fournette. Like they kind of cap each other's ceilings, but like you look at last week's game, they were both getting tons of dump offs, tons of work through the receiving game. So it's not crazy to start both of them, but to diversify a little bit out of that offense, I'd probably go White and Pacheco. But it's kind of tough calls there, man. And like I said, I think it's okay to flex Thielen. Like that's not a situation where I'm as worried about diversifying, just because I think that's gonna be a pass heavy game. I'm worried about the lack of defense in that game. But if you go Corey Davis, it's okay. Like to be honest, man, I don't see a crazy difference in terms of the ceiling, the floor between Corey Davis and Adam Thielen. Like you're really hoping for either receiver to get a good amount of volume or to find the end zone. And if one of the two doesn't happen, they're probably not going to have a good day, So once again, if you want to diversify, just in case, we're anticipating a pass-heavy game between the Lions and the Vikings, but if we're wrong on that, it might be a good idea to start Corey Davis. So bottom line, probably go Pacheco, White, and Corey Davis. But Thielen's perfectly fine too. Stash J.K. Dobbins or Hilliard. I'd probably stash Dobbins, but I just don't trust this Ravens backfield. But I guess Dobbins. Can we get a neck crack, bro? I was trying to get one, but I'm all out right now. But I tried, Nick. Homer or Singletary? What's up, Adam? Yeah, if Walker doesn't play, I think you actually do go Homer because, what he's shown is some nice PPR value when he has been semi-productive on the season. And I mean semi. But if Walker goes, who's unlikely to play, by the way. Walker officially ruled unlikely to play within the last hour. So I think you go Homer. Because I just feel like Singletary, who's been getting a consistent amount of work, since week 6, he has had 13 or more carries in every game except for week 9 against the Jets. I mean, just a consistent amount of volume on a weekly basis for Singletary. But, I like James Cook, but I do worry. James Cook had 14 touches and looked good against New England last week. 6 targets, 6 receptions, but also that game script kind of benefited James Cook, right? So I don't know. I'm a little bit. I don't dislike Singletary, who since week 6 once again has had 8.8 or more fantasy points in every game. But really, if he doesn't score, he just doesn't bring a lot of value. I mean, don't get me wrong. Against the Chiefs in week 6, he had 4 receptions, 85 yards on the ground. That still got you double digits. But ultimately, most of these higher stat lines are when he scores a touchdown or 2 touchdowns, right? So I just feel like it's a little bit risky. When he played the Jets in week 9, who he is facing here in week 14, at home, that is, where the last game was away, he had 8.8 fantasy points, which one of the lower points and the only game where he had less than 13 touches. So I don't dislike Singletary, but I feel like the ceiling's going to be higher for Homer in a matchup where there's worse defenses involved. So and a little bit more PPR upside. A little bit PP Homer. So I'd probably go Homer, bro. So let me know how you feel about it, Adam. Nick, Dolphins or Washington in the playoffs? I mean, I'd rather watch the Dolphins, but Washington, I mean, both these teams can easily make it, so. Pray, I'm not doing pick'ems yet. Too early. Richie, what's good, bro? Corey Davis or Zay Jones? It's tough, man. I feel like Corey Davis brings a better floor. Zay Jones brings a little bit more risk, but like a ton more upside, man. I mean, Zay Jones against Tennessee's secondary does sound very intriguing as a flex option, undoubtedly. I mean, that secondary has been awful all season long, but at the end of the day, they just got absolutely torched. Like, they looked their worst against AJ Brown and company last weekend. So it's tough, man. It's tough. Like I said, the floor option, probably Davis. The upside, it probably goes to Jones. What's up, Thomas? Currently having Njoku grab Goddard and Waller off waivers over the last month. Do you insert Goddard or Waller immediately when healthy? I definitely insert Goddard right away. I got no concerns about Goddard once he's cleared. I don't have a lot of faith in Waller, especially if like the Raiders lose next week or whatever and like are out of the playoff hunt. Like, I don't even know if they're gonna want to how badly they're gonna want Waller out there. I mean, he gets New England, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Kansas City, finish the year. I just don't trust Waller, bro. He's fine to hold on to if you're able to pick him up, but like, I truthfully think he'd probably be fine with just Njoku and Goddard. But yeah, I have no issue with Goddard at all, bro. Not even close. So Waller, I would watch and monitor that offense. That team's in kind of a shaky place. You know what I'm saying? And he's just been so injury prone. But Goddard, man, yeah, you want Goddard in your lineup. The Eagles, when you look at their remaining schedule, like, especially with how competitive with Washington and the Giants, technically like in the playoff hunt, or the Giants actually have a spot. Washington's in the hunt, and then with how good the Cowboys have been, like, the Eagles are going to be doing everything they can to win the majority of these remaining games. So Goddard's going to be very productive to end the season, in my opinion. Raphael, what's good, bro? Start White if Lenny plays or Juju. I go White. I think White's going to have a good week. I'm really not concerned about Rachaad White. I know it's a tough matchup. I know the Niners' defense is scary. I know they play very well against the run, but ultimately, like we saw against the Saints, right? Like, the Bucs are going to dump the football off 12 times, 15 times a game. Like, and whether it's White or Lenny out there, they're both going to benefit. So Juju's got a tough matchup, man. I don't want to start Juju against the Broncos, especially when he's been kind of in a slump lately. So, Richie, how do you feel about Mike Evans versus San Fran? You know, man, it's a good question, because like, my gut is kind of telling me Mike Evans, when everyone's doubting him in this big slump, is due for a good game. He's going to come out here and have a good game in the next week or so. But until we see it, man, I just don't trust it. This has been Mike Evans' worst season probably ever, when you look at the stats. I mean, I know he missed a game, but yeah, he's on pace for his worst season of all time in just about every category. Right now, he's tied for a season low in touchdowns, and that's like always been, from a fantasy perspective, like since 2018, Mike Evans has had 8 or more touchdowns in every season. You know, in his whole career, 2017 he had 5 touchdowns. 2015 he had 3 touchdowns. Outside of that, he's had 8 or more touchdowns in every single season. You know, he had 14 in 2021. He had 13 in 2020. So the regression is here, right? So I do worry about Evans, but I just have that feeling like, you know, everyone's like going to bench Evans. He's going to go off at some point. But with that being said, it just hasn't looked like the offense has been comfortable with Mike Evans in the last week or so, you know? I mean, last week especially. So, would I start Mike Evans? I'd probably actually consider Mike Evans, because ultimately, while the Niners are very good at causing turnovers, they have a very good pass rush, they're very good against the run, their secondary is still the weakest part of this defense. So it depends on who else you have, but I'm not like 100% out on Evans per se, but I am concerned about Mike Evans. Albert, what's up, bro? Good to see you, man. Mr. Jones, how do you feel about the Jets' defense against the Bills? I personally wouldn't start them. Yeah. What did they do? Hold on. When they played them last. Oops. Let's see. They had 12 points last time they played them. How did they manage 12 points? Hold on. They had 2 picks, that's why. That's right. 2 picks and 2 forced fumbles. It's like a statement game for the Jets. Not that they hadn't had good games already on the season, but that was a big game for them, man. I mean, if you don't have better options, they can go the Jets, but I just have that feeling that this is going to be a game where defense kind of slips. You know what I'm saying? I think the Bills are a little hungry right now. But if you have to start them, I think it's okay. Albert, Hollywood Brown, or Mike Evans, I'd probably still go Hollywood here. I think Hollywood's going to have a good week. You know, had the good week before the bye. Looked just fine. And then, excuse me. Went on bye week. And I think he's rested up. I think he's good to go. So, I go with Hollywood. Homer or Hollywood? Once again, I go Hollywood, man. Travis Homer is going to be interesting to watch. But like, if you have a guy who is like a lock like that, which I think Hollywood is, I go Hollywood, bro. I appreciate your advice as always. Of course, man. I was thinking the same thing. The upside is what does it for me. My opponent has James Cook. So I think no matter who I start, I should at least equal Cook's production. Yeah, I agree with that, man. I think it'll be good to go there. So I definitely think Cook, both your players there can reach Cook's production. I agree, man. Pray, John, should I roster McKenzie over Edwards? Over Higbee. I meant McKenzie over Higbee. Yeah, I would at this point. And it's like, I don't know, man, because we got Baker's show. But Higbee didn't look ultra productive last week. He's had 2 good matchups in a row against Seattle and Las Vegas. But there is the potential, I guess, chemistry between Baker and Higbee polishes out to end the season. But I feel like with that tier tight end, you want to, like, 2 ways to look at it. You could just roster both and see who ends up being more productive, or you can just roster one and like just roll with them. You might just want to roll with Evan Ingram. So the guys Isaiah McKenzie's fine to pick up. Would you drop Burks for Zay or Corey Davis? Richie, if you need to win like right now, then sure. If not, I hold on to Burks. You know, if you're in the playoffs, I hold on to Burks, man. If not, if you need to win this weekend for sure, then probably pick up Zay Jones or Corey Davis. We got you, Thomas. Nick, should I drop Washington defense for Matt Breida or keep Miami's defense? It depends. Like, are you going to start Matt Breida this specific week? You know, like, because he's probably not going to be a factor past this week. Unless, of course, I guess Barkley suffers a serious injury and misses significant time, I guess. You know, he's a handcuff, but you know, the big reason to hold Matt Breida right now is if he plays this weekend, I guess, right? So if you don't need him for the weekend, then and you want to roster the extra defense, then I think that's fine. I think you just go with the extra defense, man. What's up, Jonesy? Good to see you, bro. If Barkley doesn't play, would you sub with Chuba or Cook? I go Cook because, I mean, from what we've read, Foreman is like good to go. The injury's not going to be an issue at all, and I think he leads the backfield there. So, you know, it's definitely a possibility that Chuba gets involved in everything against a bad run defense like Seattle. But I feel a bit better about Cook personally. How do you feel about it, man? Adam, come playoff time, do you think I should flex Hollywood or Watson? I was thinking of playing by ear and going with the better matchup. That's fine. I go Watson, though. I go Watson. And most of the weeks, like, it's going to be Watson anyways. Like, well, I don't know, man. I mean, Hollywood Brown gets Denver in week 15. Like, I'm a little bit worried about that matchup. Then he gets Tampa Bay and Atlanta. Like, Atlanta's a beautiful matchup. Tampa Bay is, you know, it's not awful. It's not great, but Denver is a bad matchup. But on top of that, like, it's going to be interesting. Like, you know, we got a little sneak peek in week 12, but ultimately, like, with Hopkins out there, Hopkins going to see the primary defensive pressure. So, like, there's gonna be plays where Hollywood's gonna be able to get open. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, man, I just can't. Like, Christian Watson is just playing ridiculous. So he gets the Rams, Miami, Minnesota. Like, Packers got to win out, especially if they beat the Rams next week. Like, these are going to be good, competitive games each and every week for this Packers offense. So, man, part of me is kind of rooting for the Packers to finish this thing out. But yeah, Adam, I think going by matchup, of course, never hurts. But I probably lean Watson overall. Nick, what'd you eat for dinner tonight? I had Mexican food. It was amazing. How about you, bro? Juked, what's up, bro? With Kenneth Walker out, should I start Homer and Najee and then Evans or Wilson? I think if you want the floor, like kind of the safer play, you go Najee. You know, it's not a great matchup for him, but like it just feels like Najee is going to get you 10 points every week. But if you want some upside, go with Homer. You know, a little bit riskier because we don't really know this offense, and we think it's Homer, but Pete Carroll's done some interesting things at running back. It's a little bit of risk involved, but the upside definitely lies with Homer in a far better matchup. Evans or Jeff Wilson? I go Jeff Wilson, man. I think Wilson's going to bounce back. Good matchup for him against the Chargers. Caleb, what's up, bro? Jamal Williams or Jeff Wilson? That's tough. The floor goes to Jamal Williams, like just a safe play on a weekly basis. Probably going to score a touchdown. Like it's just feels safe, right? But the upside lies with Jeff Wilson. You know, a little bit riskier because Wilson coming off a bad game and everything. But I believe Wilson bounces back against the Chargers. Just a very bad, very, very bad run defense. So I think you can go with Wilson there and feel confident for the weekend. Thomas, how do you feel about holding Kansas City and Baltimore? Baltimore grab Kansas City for the week and next week, but one in Baltimore for week 16 versus Atlanta. Does it waste a spot holding both? No. At this point in the season, if you're streaming defenses, you want that advantage of having more than one defense. As long as it's not hurting the rest of your roster or anything, you know, as long as it's not taking away from players that you might need to potentially start. Like if you're hurting at receiver or running back or tight end or whatever, then I say go for it, man, for sure. Corey Davis or Pickens? I'd probably go Corey Davis, Richie. I'm worried about Pickens after last week. He'll probably pop off, but I could probably go Davis. Caleb, should I start and activate Njoku and drop Greg Dulcich? That's tough because we don't really know the chemistry between Njoku and Watson. So my gut says yeah, go ahead and do it, but I think the smarter move may be to start Dulcich this week, who's in line for a decent. I mean, I think he's gonna have a good week, you know. And then just see what happens with Njoku. You know what I'm saying? So you start Dulcich this week. You see what happens with Njoku. And then if you feel like you want to drop Dulcich after the week and not have to lose anyone else, then that's fine. But you might get in a position where you want to hold on to both Dulcich and Njoku. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if I necessarily see too much higher of a crazy ceiling for Njoku versus Dulcich. I think they're both going to have pretty good weeks. So I think that might be a better move for you. So let me know what you think about that, bro. All right, so let's see here. Gabe, I need to start 3 of these 4. Evans, Pierce, Wilson, and Fournette. I probably bench Dameon Pierce against the Cowboys. I just don't think he's going to have a good day, Gabe. I mean, I just don't see any upside whatsoever there. I think it's going to be a bad game script for Dameon Pierce and a tough matchup. But if Fournette doesn't play, then you can start Pierce and just hope he scores. Hope he gets some garbage time points, right? Caleb, Pacheco or Foreman? I go Foreman, a better matchup. He looks like he's good to go. Should I drop Sutton in a 10 team? You can move on from Sutton if you want to, bro. KJ, what's good, bro? DJ Chark, Cooper, Rashad White, or Breida if Barkley sits. I probably go DJ Chark. Call me crazy, but I don't know. I'd probably go Rashad White. I think White's going to have a good week. I think he'll be productive. I'd probably go Rashad White. I am worried about Cooper. Away game. He's a little banged up. I'm worried about the passing game for the Browns. Cincinnati's playing pretty well right now. So it's definitely White or Chark, but I'd probably go Rashad White, bro. Gotcha, Jonesy. Stober, what's good, bro? Appreciate you being here, my guy. Appreciate the kind words. Steph, Chef, Joey, what's up? Worried about Saquon. If he doesn't play, Swift or Stevenson? Well, you know, you have good options here for sure. You know, definitely. If you're worried about Saquon, you got guys like Swift or Stevenson in the lineup. I think you're good. I think you go Stevenson. I mean, I think Swift's going to have a good game. You can't really go wrong here, but Stevenson is your RB8 on the season. I think you just trust the production. You roll with Stevenson, man. Michael, who should I drop? Lamar Jackson, Debo, Evans. Need one to pick up a defense due to injuries and buys. Have Fields as my QB. Amon-Ra, Hopkins, Wilson, Debo, Mike. You probably drop Mike Evans, right? Probably drop Mike Evans. Because Fields has... I don't know if it's going to matter, but it's worth noting he's got 2 tough matchups coming up. It just sucks he can't put Lamar on IR, man. Just listed as doubtful. Playing head games out here. I guess you got to pull the trigger and drop Evans, don't you, man? That sucks. I guess I go Evans. How do you feel about it, man? Nick Eye Pizza, that sounds good. Sounds good. Could go for some pizza. Well, actually, I'm pretty full, but I can always rock some pizza. Jimbo, what's up, bro? Jets, Panthers, or Cardinals? I'd probably go the Cardinals, but the Jets, I'd probably go Cardinals, Jets, and Panthers. So, I'm not not crazy high on the Panthers by any means, though. But they look, I mean, I don't know. They've actually looked pretty good in their last 3 starts. They had Atlanta, Baltimore, and Denver, 9 or more points in all those matchups. So, but I just have faith. I mean, this is a game that's in Seattle. I have faith in Seattle's offense right now. So, I probably still have them last. But, yeah, I think that the Cardinals are a good streaming option for the week. Their defense 13 on the season. The Patriots offense has been looking pretty lackluster. So, I'd probably go with the Cardinals, but the Jets are okay too. Mr. Jones, let's see here. 11-2 PPR League. Hurts, Chubb, White, JJ, D-Hop, Fearmouth, Goat, Fear Goat, Schultz, K9, out. Flex, Debo, or Devonta Smith or Cook, tight end in a flex. Okay. I go Devonta Smith for sure. I like Devonta Smith for sure. Yeah. I'm starting Smith in like 2 leagues this week, so I think Smith is a great start, bro. I go with Devonta Smith. For the tight end position, call me crazy. I go Pat Freiermuth, which I don't think is crazy at all, but I just think a more competitive game script. Like, I just don't know how often or how much the Cowboys are necessarily going to need to throw the football. Like, if you start Schultz, like, you're kind of hoping that he scores, like, pretty early on one of the earlier drives. But I feel like once the Cowboys build up a lead, like, this game's just going to turn to the run game and just watching that defense go crazy. So I'd probably go Freiermuth. And Freiermuth is your tight end 4 so far on the season. Like, he's playing phenomenal, man. I just stick with Freiermuth right now. So I drop Pickens to activate Njoku. Is that your Dynasty League? If it is, probably not. If it isn't, you can definitely consider it, Caleb. But keep in mind, if Pickens, especially if Pickens has a good game, you might not get him back. So it just kind of depends on the receivers you have there. Nick, are you married or have kids? Yes, I am married and have a baby. I'm glad the show helps you, bro. For sure, bro. Appreciate that. Richie, pick 2. Kirk, D-Hop, or Keenan Allen? Ooh, man. I think Kirk's going to have a big week. I really do. It's just such a good matchup against the Titans secondary, bro. And then, like, you just can't bench D-Hop, you know? And I think Allen's going to have a good week, too, is the problem. But now you got Mike Williams back out there. Still got Palmer and Everett healthy, Eckler healthy. A lot of options. DeAndre Carter. But Allen's that guy, you know? So it's like, I'd probably go Kirk and D-Hop. But I think Allen's going to have a good game, too, bro. We got you, Steph Chef. Got you, Jimbo. Got you, KJ. I appreciate you guys hanging out tonight, talking fantasy, man. Do you like starting the Chiefs defense? Yeah, for sure. And they've got a very it's got a good strength of schedule to finish out the year. I don't know the words I was looking for. So I'm good at the Chiefs for sure, bro. Yeah. How do you feel about starting Mike White in a deep league? I'm good with Mike White. Yeah. A little bit of a tough matchup. I think this is probably the toughest matchup he's had so far. But, you know, gets the Bills this week. The Lions next week. The Jaguars on Thursday Night Football, Christmas week. And then the Seahawks. So I actually think, from a fantasy perspective, he's in a pretty good spot. So, yeah, I think you can start Mike White if you need to. Albert, yeah, Barkley, a true game time decision. So we're just going to have to monitor what's going to happen there, man. I'm worried about that because I need I needed Barkley to play. I've got an important matchup tomorrow with him in my lineup. Cooper expected to play. Let's go. I was a little bit worried about Cooper, but if you have to go Cooper, it's okay. KJ, I lost Lamar last week. Picked up Goff for this week. Who's a good streaming quarterback for first week of playoffs next week? Full PPR. You know, actually, especially if Goff plays well this week, he gets the Jets next week. It's a little bit tough, but I kind of have some faith in that Lions offense. But looking at next week, it's rough out there, man. It really is. Looking at matchups like, oh man, Danny Dimes gets the Commanders. Go Baker at the Packers. Just kidding. Ryan Tannehill at the Chargers. Even that feels risky. I mean, like, here are your matchups next week, right? Niners at the Seahawks. Like, maybe if Brock Purdy balls out this week. But the Seahawks defense is not bad. And then vice versa. Like, I doubt Geno's going to be available in your league. But, you know, Geno gets the Niners. Once again, it's a tough matchup. Colts, Vikings. Like, if Kirk Cousins is available, that's fine. But I doubt he is, right? Ravens, Browns. Maybe Tyler Huntley. That could be kind of interesting. Dolphins, Bills. Oh, we got a couple Saturday games next week. Dolphins, Bills, Tua and Allen aren't available. Eagles, Bears, Hurts, Fields aren't going to be available. Lions, Jets. Once again, you could go Goff. You could go Mike White, actually. You could go Mike White against the Lions. Goff's a little bit riskier against the Jets. Steelers, Panthers. You probably don't want to go Pickett or Darnold. Chiefs, Texans. You're not going to get Mahomes, and you're not going with the Texans quarterback. Falcons, Saints. Way too risky to start Ritter. Probably don't want to start Dalton. Cowboys, Jags. Like, you don't want to start Trevor Lawrence. You don't want to stream him. You're not going to get Dak. Cardinals, Broncos. I mean, yeah, you're not going to get Kyler. You don't want to start Russ. Pats, Raiders. Probably don't want to go Carr against the Pats. You don't want to go Mac Jones. Titans, Chargers. You could consider Tannehill, but it's not a lot of upside. You're not going to get Herbert. Bengals, Bucks. I mean, actually, Brady might be available in your league. You never know, but it's tough matchup, and then Brady doesn't bring a very high ceiling. You're not going to get Burrow. Once again, you could go Danny Dimes against the Commanders. Probably don't want to go Heineke. Rams, Packers. That doesn't feel like a game with a lot of upside, even if Rodgers or Baker are available. So it is kind of tough. Nick, what's up, bro? I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the $5 dono, man. Nick with the super chat. Appreciate you, man. Emojis in the chat for Nick. All right, what's up, bro? Kyler Murray or Goff? That's tough, bro. That's tough. I actually think that Kyler is going to have a good week, man. Like, I'm not out on Kyler. But like Goff, you know, it's just look good. It's a good game script. It's a good matchup. Vikings secondaries banged up. I think that Goff is a little bit safer. You know? But I don't know. I don't even know if I want to say the upside lies with Kyler Murray. I think you can still go Kyler, but I'd probably go Goff. Nick, who are you leaning towards, bro? It's close. It's close. It's close. Nick, let me know. We'll continue to dissect it, man. I think I go Goff, but it's close, man. Thank you for the donation, bro. I appreciate you, dog. Royer, start Devontae Parker or DPJ. I'd probably go DPJ. Sport Dog, 8 team, half PPR. What's up, Sport Dog? Need 2 wide receivers. Davis, Ayuk, Williams, Palmer. Also need 2 flex spots. Jay Williams and Rashad White, along with any receivers not used. Locked for the playoffs, but a win would be great. Okay. I go Ayuk, regardless of the quarterback situation. I'm starting Ayuk. And I go Palmer. I actually think Palmer is going to have a pretty good game. And he's going to be one of those positions, like in a half PPR league, where not like nearly any defensive pressure on him with Mike Williams and Allen out there, where he can definitely find the end zone, right? And then I go Rashad White in the flex. So if you want to get a little risky here, and just to specify, which Williams is that? Is that Jamal Williams? Or is that J-Mo? Let me know. Anyways, because if it's Jamal Williams, then maybe go Williams. I mean, like in a half PPR league, you probably have to go Jamal Williams, you know? But, it's tough. Let me know, man. But, yeah, I think you can definitely flex Rashad White, especially in half PPR. So, and what I was going to say is, like, you can go Corey, or you can go Gabe Davis here. Because, like, you can run with the upside, you know, because you don't need a win, like you're saying. It would help your overall seeding if you do get the win. So if you want to go Gabe Davis and kind of get risky, I think that's okay too. I don't have a big problem with that. So let me know what you think, man. Noah, what's good, bro? Good to see you, man. How you feeling about Travis Homer? I think Homer's okay. Like, definitely holds some nice upside. Definitely has a decent matchup and everything. So I'm definitely not out on Homer by any means. But I just get a little worried about Pete Carroll. You know, like, we think it's going to be Homer. It feels like it's going to be Homer, but knowing him, it'll be like Tony Jones, who gets all the touches. Like, Homer just gets some receiving work. So I wouldn't start Homer over, like, bona fide starters that you have, you know. But if you're desperate, you can go Homer because he does bring some PPR upside. Dom, Latavius Murray, Brandon Ayuk, or Adam Thielen. What's up, Dom? I'd probably go Ayuk ultimately, but I think Thielen's in a good game script and a pretty good matchup. And I think Latavius Murray is kind of being, like, slept on this week because the Chiefs have not played well against opposing running backs. And, like, all it's going to take is, like, although the Broncos are very inefficient in the red zone, like, all it's going to take is a couple drives, 2 or 3 times in the red zone, and handing off to Latavius Murray for him to score a touchdown and to get a decent stat line. But I like Brandon Ayuk this week, man. Even with Brock at QB. A-Game Grizzo, what's up? Pacheco or Knight PPR if Barkley is out? I probably go Pacheco. I'm worried about Bam Knight with Michael Carter healthy. I think the better game script lies with Bam Knight. I think he holds more PPR upside. So if you go Knight, it's okay, but you just have to understand, like, Michael Carter is going to be back. I mean, I don't know what happened to James Robinson, but you got Ty Johnson playing pretty well too. So you just got to understand, like, his upside could be capped from what we've seen over the past 2 weeks. So Pacheco's look good. You know, it's a tough matchup for Pacheco. So if you go Knight, I think it's okay. But I think Pacheco's a little bit safer. Thomas, Barkley a true game time? Are you concerned going forward? Not necessarily, no. I wanted to hold Kansas City and Baltimore defense heading to the playoffs as I'm clinched. Should I drop one for Breida? I have Zeke, K9, Barkley, Purine. I would hold your defenses and let this thing with Barkley play out. I think, personally, like, if he doesn't play. I think they're being more cautious than anything. And we talked about it earlier in the stream. Like, if the Giants lose this game, they're not out of the playoffs. So, I mean, they're going to, you know, the games moving forward become a lot larger, but they're not like, this isn't the end of the season if they lose this game, especially since they play Philadelphia again in Week 18. So I think they're being cautious if he doesn't play, because like if Barkley gets too banged up, he's out. You know, like he's out obviously, but the season for the Giants is looking very gloomy. So I think they're being cautious, bro. I wouldn't be too concerned. You know, I like what you're doing with you know, holding those defenses for the playoffs. So I just kind of stay put there. Nick, I've got Murray in there now. Have Hopkins as well. I think that's perfectly fine, dude. Like, I don't have a problem with going with Kyler this week. You know, I worry about the Patriots' defense right now. They're not playing that well. And it's like, what do the Cardinals have to lose right now? Like, not really anything. So I can definitely see them playing well. And, like, when you look at Kyler on the season, like, you know, it hasn't been a good season for the Cardinals, but, like, he's been playing just fine. He's still your quarterback 10 in fantasy, and that's with 2 missed games and coming off a bye week. So a little bit of a rough stretch between, like, weeks 5 and 7. Then he had the bad game in week 3. But outside of that, 19 or more fantasy points in every game this season. So coming off of his second best fantasy, his third best fantasy performance before the bye week in week 12. It was really close there. 26.8 in week 2, 26.6 in week 8, 26.2 in week 12 before the bye week. So it's a tough matchup on paper, but New England's defense has been slipping kind of lately. So I will say this: if you own Kyler Murray, I would definitely hold on to him for the rest of the fantasy season. Primarily because he's going to play Atlanta in the fantasy championship. So, and that just feels like a game where, like, there's nothing at stake and both teams are just trying to find their identity before the season ends. So it could be a good one too. Vincent, what's up, man? Running back Jay Williams, Wilson Jr., or wide receiver Zay Jones for the flex. If it's Jamal Williams, I probably go Jamal Williams as the safest start here. Like, this week after week, Jamal Williams scores touchdown, gets you like 10 fantasy points as a lock. But I think Jeff Wilson, if you want a little bit more risk against the Chargers, I think he's going to bounce back. Then I think Zay Jones against the Titans, once again, a little bit more risk. But a good start, man. This Titans secondary is awful. So I think you have a lot of good starts here, but I just think Jamal Williams is so safe right now, you know. But if you feel like you're in a position where you need more upside, you probably go Zay Jones or Wilson. You know, feel like you're in a pretty tough matchup. Depends on the rest of the roster, but looks like you got a couple good options there, Vincent. Let me know what you think, bro. A-game, need one out of Palmer, Chark, Zay, and DPJ. Yeah, I like Palmer this week. I do like Chark, and I like Zay and DPJ. Like, this is a tough one because you've got like 3 like flex type receivers who hold really similar ceilings and pretty similar upside. But like, I think I gravitate towards Zay Jones just because that matchup against the Titans is so juicy, you know. Palmer's gonna line up as your wide receiver 3. Chark is a wide receiver 2. Jones, DPJ, wide receiver 2. But like, Palmer is a receiver who kind of plays better when he's playing as a wide receiver 3, you know what I'm saying? So it's tough, man. Any of these guys can outscore each other. I would definitely kind of trust your gut here, but I'd probably go Zay Jones and give you some upside. Let me know what you think. Jimbo, do you think Lawrence, Goff, or Watson will perform better rest of the season? I have to look at the schedules, and it's really between T-Law and Goff for me. The big thing with Trevor Lawrence right now is the injury, right? He gets Tennessee, Dallas, the Jets, and Houston. It's not the most favorable schedule, especially Dallas and the Jets. And then Houston is like, they're just going to run the football, you know? So, like, the upside there isn't crazy high. I'd probably go Goff. And the main reason I go Goff at number 1, who gets Minnesota, the Jets, Carolina, Chicago. A pretty favorable schedule, really outside the Jets. But also, like, the Lions are in the playoff hunt, man. Like, they're not going to be taking their foot off the gas anytime soon. They do whatever they can to win these games. So, and Goff's been kind of slinging it. So I'd probably go Goff, Lawrence, and then Watson. Warriors, Singletary, good play this week. He's fine, but just a capped ceiling with Cook kind of coming on. And just not a great matchup against the Jets. So, but he's okay. Just kind of a floor play for the week. Liam, what's up? I need to start 2 running backs. Who should I start? Najee, Homer, Mostart, Foreman. I go Foreman against Seattle for sure. And then kind of the safe play is Najee, but not a high ceiling involved. So Homer brings some risk. Mostart's the RB2 there behind Wilson, but has shown he can perform even when Wilson performs well. And he's got a good matchup. So if you want some upside, you can go Homer or Mostart, but understand that they bring some more risk. You know what I'm saying? So I probably go Foreman. And if I personally was going to take a risk, I go Mostart. If you want the floor, go Najee. Jamie, what's up? Bye week crap. Start Parker, Robinson, or Julio. Oh, wow. I don't really know, like, DeMarcus Robinson and Huntley. Like, what did the chemistry look like last week? I mean, he finished with 41 receiving yards. I just don't... I know what this game plan is going to look like for the Ravens. I don't know who Huntley's going to want to throw to. You know? I guess I go Parker. Ooh. That's such a tough call, man. Parker's so hard to trust. I don't know if I go Parker. I think I take that back. Oh, gosh. And it's like Julio. I mean, can't really trust. Like, Julio has to score a touchdown to be relevant. You know, I guess I go DeMarcus Robinson, but I don't really like it. I know you don't like it either. Let me know what you think. What's up, okay? I have JT and Jones on bye. Who'd you start out of Foreman, Wilson, Pacheco, and White? How many can you start? I'm assuming 2. Jones and JT are your primary backs. I'd probably go Foreman and Jeff Wilson. I think Jeff Wilson's going to bounce back against the Chargers. Foreman's got a good matchup against Seattle. But Pacheco and White have been playing well, so there's definitely an argument for those guys. I think the upside due to matchup lies with Foreman and Wilson, but Pacheco and White still bring a really good floor. I got you, Thomas. Sport Dog, I could pick up DJ Chark, but who would I drop? Did pick up James Cook, maybe Pirine, or is Chark just not any more than a wide receiver 3? And it was RB Jamal Williams. Okay, let me see, Sport Dog. Yeah, so you need a 2. I go Jamal Williams. Ooh. And half PPR, you don't need a win necessarily. I go Jamal Williams. Ooh. Gabe Davis and Rashad White. Let me know what you think. I say go for that upside with White. I think you can hold on to Chark, but if you want more running back depth, James Cook or Pirine are fine. I would just kind of look at your roster and kind of ask yourself the question, do you need that additional running back more, or do you need the additional receiver more? I do think that DJ Chark is completely fine to hold on to. So just kind of look at things. Do you need the running back or receiver more? Vincent, you're welcome, man. Appreciate you, man. Thomas, what's your honest thoughts on Fields through week 16? Grabbing off waivers early after trading Lamar and Cup pre-injury, been flexing ever since. Also have Goff. Yeah. I would play it by matchup. I trust Justin Fields. I really do. Just too dynamic. So, like, I mean, he gets Philly and Buffalo. So, initially, I was kind of worried about this stretch earlier in the season when, like, Fields was going crazy. I kept trying to, like, warn people, like, you know, there's a lot of you guys who had, like, a really valuable quarterback and Justin Fields who got off waivers. A lot of you guys asking questions about trading, like, your more valuable, so to speak, quarterback. And I was worried about this stretch, like the bye week in week 14, Philly, then Buffalo, before he gets Detroit in week 17. And a really good matchup. So it depends. Like, if you look at Goff in weeks 15 and 16, for example, like he gets the Jets next week, not a favorable matchup. Then at Carolina could also be a little bit of a tough matchup. So, and then Goff gets Chicago in that same matchup in week 17. So, like, I think ultimately there's more upside with Fields, although I do like Goff. So, listen, like, Fields has played really well against good defenses on the season. So, I think it's worth, like, looking at who he's playing, but I think he'll be okay. T. Higgins, Gary Wilson, or Debo. Ooh. I feel like you can't bench T. Higgins, but if you do bench him, it's for Garrett Wilson. Debo is not holding that upside right now. So definitely Wilson or Higgins, but I probably go Higgins. Probably go Higgins. It's super close, man. Both are playing really well right now. Noah, Zay Jones or Foreman or Pierce? Foreman for a floor. If you want some upside, go Zay Jones. I definitely don't go Pierce. Bad matchup for Pierce. Bad game script. Mr. Jones, Goff has been decent all season. 100%, man. Especially, remember, earlier in the year, like, he was like a top 5 quarterback. And then he kind of had a little bit of a slump. Jelly of the month, what's up? Made the playoffs. Let's go. Drop Myers for Lazard or Mike White. My Dak versus Jacksonville, week 15. And Mike White has Detroit. I would drop Jacoby Myers. I'm starting to lose faith in oh wait, I'm sorry, you're asking for Lazard or Mike White. I mean, I think Dak is going to be fine to finish the year. So if you want the additional receiver, you go Lazard if you feel like that's more beneficial to your roster. If you want the depth at quarterback, I think that's okay. Dak does get Philly and Tennessee in week 16 and 17, which aren't particularly favorable. Jacksonville in week 15, I think, is just fine. Mike White, on the other hand, is going to have Detroit, Jacksonville, and Seattle, which is pretty favorable. So I don't mind holding on to 2 quarterbacks here. But if you feel like you need extra receiver depth, or if you just feel like Lazard over Myers is better, I think that's okay too. Okay, Zay Jones or Mike Evans? Mike Evans for the floor. Zay Jones gives you the upside. I'd probably go Zay Jones, man. Mr. Jones, stay away from all Broncos. Yeah. Like, the only Bronco... I mean, actually, I don't know, man. I think Jerry Jeudy, Greg Dulcich, and Latavius Murray all hold some value this week. The Chiefs' defense is fine. But ultimately, from a fantasy perspective, not great. So, yeah. I think you can consider a couple of those guys. But I get what you're saying, man. I mean, the Broncos just been awful. Jamie, it's gross for sure. Waiver wire is a mess and lost Myers. Dortch and Terrace Marshall are also available. It's like, I don't trust Greg Dortch. Well, actually, is Rondale Moore going to play? He's out. Okay, so Greg Dortch isn't too bad. But it's hard to trust. It's hard to trust Greg Dortch. I mean, it's clear to play. Like, you're ultimately taking a risk no matter who you start, right? I say trust your gut. How did Marshall play? With 1.8 points in week 12, but that was against the Broncos. I mean, Seattle secondary is not bad either. I think I go Robinson, but it's just really risky no matter what you do, Jamie. Trust your gut there. Anthony, Pacheco or White in PPR? I go White. White brings you more PPR value, and the Bucs are going to be in one of these game scripts where they need to throw the football. Mostert or Dameon Pierce? I go Mostert. I'm really worried about Pierce this weekend. Bad game script, bad matchup. Who do I sit here? DK, Keenan, D-Hop, Zeke, and Mixon in half PPR. Whew. I definitely start Zeke, in, regardless of scoring format. But in half PPR, you got to go Zeke and Mixon. I go DK and D-Hop because I feel like Keenan Allen gives you the least likelihood to score. I don't know why, though, because he scored in the last 2 weeks. That's so tough. Maybe you said DK because he's a little banged up. I mean, you really can't go wrong here, Anthony. But I will say in half PPR, I start both running backs. Mr. Jones, I feel like Purdy will give Debo more upside than Norm. I hope so. We'll see what happens, man. See what happens. I mean, he did have 12 points last week, but we'll just have to see what happens. Jelly of the Month also got Lamar. Lamar's got a pretty good playoff schedule, so... Oh, no, I wouldn't get too crazy at quarterback there, because then you're just going to have, like... can always be a conundrum if you have too many quarterbacks to potentially start. Like, you're just kind of sitting there on a weekly basis, and, like... sometimes it's just easy to make the wrong call, you know? Let's see. Jeffrey, what's going on, man? Hello, hello. Half PPR, pick 2 running backs, Wilson, Pierce, White, and Pirine. I'd probably go Jeff Wilson against the Chargers and Rashad White. I have faith in Rashad White this week, but Samaje Pirine is very interesting as well because I do think he'll be involved in this game plan, and like the Browns are awful against the run, so I do think that you can consider him, but I think the best volume and like Jeff Wilson's still in a really good matchup against the Chargers. I think you do go Wilson. I think he bounces back. Then Rashad White, like I just feel good about Rashad White this week, so I go with White and Wilson. But if you didn't have faith in one of the two, I'd probably go Samaje Pirine. I would not start Dameon Pierce against the Cowboys this weekend. Sport Dog, I don't have DJ Chark. I can pick him up from waivers, but I do have James Cook and Pirine that I could drop for Chark if you think he'll be a factor in the playoffs. I'm just not sure. Yeah. I'd probably hold on to Cook and Pirine. I mean, I like DJ Chark. I do think, like, he's going to have production in the coming weeks. Don't get me wrong. But I'd probably stick with the running backs. I think that's just fine. Okay, Garrett Wilson, T or Amari. I go T Higgins, but super close with T versus Garrett Wilson. Very, very close there. But give me T Higgins. I definitely don't go Amari out of the 3. Nick, I'm just waiting for my week 15, but I know this is a week 14 Q&A, but would it be safe to start Cooper or Hollywood Brown and flex for week 1 of the playoffs? So let's see here. I'm probably going to lean Cooper. Cooper gets Baltimore. It's a better matchup for him. He had 10.4 points against Baltimore last time he played them, but that was at Baltimore. This game's at home, but when we look at Hollywood Brown, it's just really tough in week 15 because he gets Denver, and it's an away game, and Denver's like the best team in the league against opposing receivers from a fantasy perspective. So, like, Pat Surtain will probably be on Hopkins, but he could also float. Like, it's going to be, and regardless, like, the whole secondary is good. So I probably go Amari Cooper. The Ravens secondary's played a lot worse than the Broncos. Noah, DPJ over Pierce. I will go DPJ over Pierce, yeah. Sport Dog, using Everett for my tight end spot. I have Njoku, but the Cleveland quarterback changes make me sit Njoku. Am I being paranoid? No. Watson, we want to see what the chemistry between Watson and Njoku looks like. I'm not out on Njoku by any means, but I looking at your other option with Everett, I think Everett's going to have a good week, and Everett's played arguably just as well as Njoku on the season, so I don't think there's anything wrong with that, man. Santos, what's going on, bro? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, Dobbins is worth a grab, but temper your expectations. I just have trouble trusting the Ravens' backfield. You know? But if you want to pick up Dobbins and see what happens, I think that's fine. What's up, Jose? Should I start Homer this week? I think Homer holds some risk. It depends. Like, I wouldn't start him over, like, bona fide starters. But if you have to start Homer, like, you don't have better options, I think it's okay. It's a good matchup. You bring some PPR upside. I just worry, like, we've seen Pete Carroll, when running backs are hurt, do interesting things before. But Homer definitely brings some upside. I just wouldn't start him over, like, guys that you've been starting all season. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Jones, no Cooks or Collins for Houston either. Gross matchup. Oh, yeah. For sure. It'll be a bad day for the Texans. The Cowboys are, like, on FanDuel, they're, like, minus 4,000 right now. It's, like, the biggest differential I've seen, like, all season long. Liam, should I start Bam Knight over Rachaad White? I would personally start Rachaad White. Just worry about how many running backs we're going to see active for the Jets and what the split looks like. Ben, start 2, White, Homer, Cook, or Juju. I'd probably go White and Cook, but you could go White and Homer. I just think, like, I definitely go White, but then, like, the floor play is kind of Cook. The upside kind of lies with Homer. Sport Dog, we'll see you tomorrow, bro. I appreciate you, dog. Have a good night, man. Liam, should I start Jameson Williams? No, I would not. Would not. Until we see something concrete, some actual production come, I wouldn't start Jameson Williams. Nick, the reason I asked that question is because I'm scared Watson might be a bust this year. Yeah. I still think that Cooper is going to draw good enough volume, even if Watson's not necessarily playing the best. When we look at last week, he still had 9 targets. So, like, if he's getting 9 targets a game, he should be able to make, from a full PPR standpoint, the most of them. And I do worry about Cooper this week against Cincinnati, especially with the hip injury, but he's expected to play. It's a more favorable matchup next week, and then even after that against the Saints in Washington as well. So, I'm not crazy about Watson either, but as long as it's full PPR, I think that'll be okay. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry, guys. Excuse me. I've been sneezing like every stream lately. Thomas, I have Zeke, K9, Barkley, Pirine hitting the playoff. Really no need for Pirine unless an injury happens. Should I grab my handcuff for maybe Madison or Akers? I would hold on to Pirine because this week's gonna be a good indication of if how much the Bengals are going to use Pirine. Like if he's going to be somebody that they use in terms of the passing game. And on top of that, Pirine is just like a really, really good overall handcuff as well. So I probably would stick with him. Champ, what's good, bro? Thomas, first time listening, always looking for different podcasts to listen to at work. Cool that you're on late night. Of course, bro. Appreciate you, bro. Welcome to the Catch fam, man. Mr. Jones, appreciate it, bro. That was an intense sneeze, man. Gio, how do you find time to do all that you do? I love watching you for your content, the people in the chat. I appreciate that, man. You just kind of got to, you just got to do what you can do. The season is definitely, it's a grind. Yeah, it's without a doubt a grind, for sure. But, it's all about, like, if I feel like I'm doing too much, I'll kind of tamper things. Like, for example, like, kind of mid-season, we went from starts and sits for every position, every matchup. I went from that to doing just a rankings video, because a rankings video is a little bit less work, doesn't take me as long to put together, just because, and I was feeling like pretty burnt out. But really, like, the big thing for me, when it comes to, like, what's most important is, like, just having the time and energy to put together a good stream for you guys. So, like, as long as I can come on for, like, at least an hour every day and stream with you guys, that's really what matters to me. Like, the uploaded videos outside of what Steven does on a weekly basis with the kickers and defense, like, the most important aspect of the channel is the live streams on a weekly basis. So I really think next year, like, streaming is going to be where a majority of the channel is gravitated towards. So we'll see how that works out, man. I appreciate it, Gio. Yeah, it's definitely you just got to manage what you can, man. It's a grind. Nick, Pierce, or DJ Moore? I go DJ Moore for sure. I go DJ Moore for sure. I do not like Damian Pierce this weekend. All right, guys, I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and wind it down for the night. Was only planning on an hour tonight. That's really all I have time for. I got to do a couple things before bed. I got to try and wake up at a decent time. And I haven't got a lot of rest this week, so I'm feeling pretty burnt out. I took a power nap before the stream, but I just had one of those weeks where I was on like a really bad schedule. Like I'll get like 6 hours of sleep each night, and then like take a power nap after we got the baby down, and then be up. Kind of like I was on a bad schedule this week, so I'm gonna try and kind of reset going into the beginning of this week, and hopefully it works out. But with that being said, I'll be on tomorrow before kickoff for about an hour. So sometime between like 11:30 and 12, I'll hop on before kickoff and everything. Yeah, so we got plenty of time to get your guys' rosters right. Of course, if you're new to the channel, check out the Discord. Follow us on Instagram. Both those links are in the description down below. You guys can always hit me up on Discord, on Instagram, whatever you guys need to do. We have our ranking videos for quarterback, running backs, receivers, tight ends out for the week. Steven's must-start defenses and kickers are out. Feel free to go drop a comment on any of the videos for the week if you guys have questions as well. And we'll get back to you guys as soon as we can. And definitely get back to you before tomorrow as well. Or at least before kickoff, that is. Champ, Rashad White, Pierce, Homer. White and Homer. I do not like Pierce at all, man. Pray, I'll do pick'ems tomorrow. I know, I'm sorry, Champ. We kind of started a little bit later than I wanted to as well. I'm sorry, man. Good night, Stober. I appreciate you, bro, man. Bro, man. Oh, man, I can't believe the, like, season is, like, I can't believe it's ending, guys. It's sad. We got, like, 4 more weeks after this week. For most of you guys, just 3 weeks. Crazy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it, man. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. Hit that subscribe button, of course, if you guys tuned in and you're new to the channel. Check out the links down below. Smash that like button, all that good stuff, man. I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. Had a great stream with you guys. Had fun with you guys. I appreciate the fantasy questions. I'm crossing my fingers for you guys this weekend. I really am. I appreciate you guys keeping the conversation going in the chat, and I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate everything that you guys do for the channel, all the support. It's been a wild season. It's been a lot of fun. So, a couple more weeks, guys. Let's do it. All right, good luck to you guys. If I don't talk to you guys tomorrow, I'll be on before kickoff. So, talk to you guys tomorrow. Everyone have a great rest of your Saturday. Be safe. And that'll do it, man. So, appreciate you guys. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Love you guys. Love this community. Love the Catch fam. With that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the Catch. And